And following up on our special report last week on the increasing number of heroin addicts in this country, we are getting a closer look tonight at just how big this problem is here in Southern Nevada. New numbers show that in the last 5 years, the number of heroin deaths in Clark County has jumped more than 130%. Johnny Poonswan here with how some local families are working to curb that trend.
That's right. And Dave, these local families have been all affected in heroin in some way. An addiction that, as we have learned tonight, can either tear people apart or bring them together to help solve this growing epidemic.
Just a year after this picture was taken, 19-year-old Reese Engel passed away from a heroin overdose.
I look back and I ask myself every day, could I have done something differently? Could I have tried something different?
Joe Engel says that like many parents of heroin addicts, he was in the dark about this addiction.
You could have knocked me over with a feather when I first found out.
Today, Engel is working to help other families not make the same mistake. 3 years ago, he launched the Las Vegas chapter of the group There Is No Hero in Heroin. They put on annual events like this one tonight to raise awareness about addiction, one that 28-year-old Alicia Marshall knows all too well.
It's so hard to stop because you don't want to be sick.
An addict since she was a teenager, Alicia got clean less than 2 years ago. She says it was only after her family stopped enabling her that she realized she had to help herself get well.
Family members will always try to love an addict sober, and all the love in the world cannot save someone.
We try to raise money to offset the cost of sober living.
Joe Engel says the goal of his organization is to also help raise funds to help people go through rehab, an inspiration that came from a son who didn't have the chance to escape this cycle of addiction.
All the awareness that we've brought around are all due to him. So his memory's living on, and he is making an impact in this world.
And since Engel launched his organization, he has paid for room and board at sober living houses for 15 people so far. He said the next step is advocating for easier access to treatment facilities and one day, Dave, to open a recovery high school. There are 36 of these high schools across the country, and they really focus on teens who are recovering from drugs and alcohol addiction.
Boy, thanks for opening our eyes about this. It's amazing. All right, Petrania, well, this group is focusing on helping those who are affected by heroin. What other advice, though, can you tell us about those whose parents are going through this right now? I mean, this is really pretty hard.
It is a bad problem, and a lot of these teens get hooked first to prescription pills. So that's the advice for a lot of parents. Have prescription pills right there at home. A lot of kids access those, start getting addicted, and
that's where it starts.
Move on to heroin. Yeah.
All right, thanks, Petrania.
You're welcome.